Crafty friends, welcome back to my podcast, Hot.Mess.Knits. I'm your host, Shayna. Welcome back, any returning viewers, and hello to any new viewers. I'm so happy you're here, wanting to take the time and see what I've been up to with my crafting. I knit, I crochet, I spin, I sew, but I haven't sewn in a hot minute. This is episode 14. Last time I talked to you guys, I mentioned that I was taking a couple week break from schooling. Next term starts up June 1st, and then it's gonna just be, I think, crazy town, because it'll be the last couple of weeks for my kids for homeschooling. I should say distance learning. And so trying to make sure that they're on track, and myself, and then plus all the house things. So I think it's just gonna be chaos for June for sure. But anyways, let's get into FOs. I've been working on things that I can send out to Wisconsin and to be put into a little coffee shop owned by a family friend of ours. And so I was going with kind of summer themed, with it going into the summer. Now, most of us are having a lot warmer weather. It's definitely warming up. So with the 4th of July coming up, I thought canned koozies would be just really cute to make. So I made 4 of those, which I thought were really cute. I'll probably make some more and keep some for myself because I like them. And I didn't have a pattern for it. I just, had a can of my bubbly and, just worked with magic circle increases and then worked just in the round until it was to the height I wanted it to be. The stars, I did find a pattern online for the stars, but I can't think of where I found it. But it was a free pattern. I think I just went on Pinterest and typed in crochet stars, and it was easy enough to find. And then I also made these adorable little fruit coasters. So I made a watermelon, a lime wedge, orange wedge, strawberry wedge. Well, it's not really wedge, I guess, but strawberry. So I thought those were really cute. So I just made a couple of those. Oh, it is raining. Hopefully it's not too loud. And then I remember I've shown in the past mug cozies that I've made for the shop too. And so again, with summer themed, I did strawberries for like a to-go cup and for like a mug. So I did strawberries, and then I did little watermelons. I think I might try to crank out a couple more of the coffee mugs and to-go cozies. So I got those done for the shop. And then Freezy Pops, or Icy Pops, or whatever you call them. I call them Freezy Pops. I thought this was just too cute. I didn't write down the pattern where I found it from, but I'll put the text in here on what it was or where I found this at. But again, it was on Pinterest, and I typed in crocheted, I think Freezy Pops, and it was a free pattern. And so, little shark cozy in there. That kids would love it. How fun is that? It's so cute. And then that was all I made for the shop, for the little coffee shop. And then with this whole coronavirus thing, I don't have any masks for myself or the kids. My husband has 1 or 2 since he's been working still. And so I thought, you know what, I have yarn, I have like old t-shirts and whatever, and I figured, why not try to make it myself? So I made my 6-year-old a fun little fox mask. And then, this is probably so poorly made, but I just took like a piece of old t-shirt and then I just kind of hand stitched it in, made a little pocket, because I know I always hear that these aren't super effective. I mean, if I had like just the crochet alone, I mean, there's tons of holes, everything's gonna go right through and in, whatever. And then I've heard, you know, even just a t-shirt material mask, stuff's gonna go in and out still. I mean, it's not perfect. So I figured I would kind of double it up, and I would have, you know, what I crocheted plus the t-shirt. And then I heard coffee filters, you know, I don't know how effective they are. I'm not in the medical field, but figured, hey, why not? It's just an extra layer of protection. So there's 3 layers for whatever it has to go through. Granted, you know, maybe it's not the greatest to be able to breathe through. I mean, I wore it on, I had him try it on. It seemed fine, but, and then I purposely made these too big, so that way they could go around the head too. One of these loops so it doesn't bother the ears, but you get the gist. Okay, FedEx, going a little fast. Jeez. And then I went ahead and made myself one as well, but just plain Jane. I mean, I could always embellish and put a little something extra on, but same thing, piece of fabric, coffee filter. And there we go. We are actually still hoping to go to Disney in August, depending on what everything is looking like. I know they're starting to reopen, but as of right now, I think they're opening in, is it June or July? And they're not opening up new tickets for people to purchase to get in. So depending on how many previous reservations that they're doing and letting them have, you know, first dibs basically into the park since they purchased tickets already, it may or may not happen, our trip to Florida with the kids, which would be a bummer, but there's always next year, right? My last FO is my spinning, like I was saying. I had an old, I think they called it a bump. It was like a 1 pound bump of roving. It was a blend, but she said it's a blend of different fibers, but it was mostly Corriedale. And so I figured I would go ahead and try to burn through that. And I must have used part, I did use part of it for, I think I portioned it out either into, I think 4-ounce pieces and dyed them, and I already spun them up, and I already forgot which ones are which. But what I had left was, I wrote it down, it was a total of 8 ounces that I had left, and that I went ahead and spun up. And so I was aiming for fingering DK weight all, you know, by the time I was done plying. I ended up with worsted, which is fine because I will still use worsted for a project. And so this is what I ended up with, which ended up being a total of 320 yards. So it'll end up being in a project. I may end up dyeing it, but I don't want to do it now without a project in mind, because that way if something comes up and I'm like, oh, it's worsted weight and I need X amount of yards, I have enough here, but I want it to be a certain color, then I can go ahead and try to dye it myself, or leave it white, which is its natural color, so which is still beautiful by itself. So whichever, it doesn't matter to me, but I'm just happy to have that done. And then I may have shown this already, I think I did, but it was not washed yet. And since I had washed that and set the twist on that, I went ahead and washed this, which was a bat that I got at Rhinebeck, created by Alex Creates. What, do you want to get in here? No. Funny boy. You're gross. It's so gross. So it turned out really pretty. and that ended up being coming in at a bulky weight, 82 yards. So it'll be, I think, just enough, well, it'll be a little more than enough to make my youngest a new hat, since he outgrew the other hand spun hat that I had made him like 2 years ago. So, and I know it doesn't fit him. It won't fit him this year for sure. And he's got a big noggin, so I'll probably make like a small adult size, I think, for him. So that'll be on the needles before too long. I need a drink. Oh my gosh, I'm dripping condensation everywhere. All right, so now that's it. See, that's it for FOs. It doesn't feel, I mean, I've been working on my whips and I made progress on my whips. It's still a good bit of FOs, I think. All right, so we're gonna go to the plain vanilla socks I've been working on. I think the last time I was working up to the heel, or I was ready for the heel, maybe that's what it was. And I was doing the fish lips kiss heel, which turned out great. I mean, I know that this doesn't match up or whatever, but it doesn't matter to me. But for my first time, I think it turned out really good. I'm a fan of it. I tried it on, fits my heel good. So I would definitely do this again, this heel. And so I have both my socks, but I'll just hold up the one. So I did the heel, and now I'm working up the leg. So I've made really good progress because I'm a slow sock knitter. They're not completely my jam, but I do like making them. Like, I want to have a drawer full of knitted socks. They just take me a while, but they're a great on-the-go project. I can, you know, do a couple rounds here, there, wherever. Not that I'm leaving the house really, but you know, when the time comes, it's a great project for on the go. But that's where I'm at. I'm gonna go, I think I'm gonna finish Slytherin and I think Ravenclaw, and then work the cuff, I think, in Gryffindor. So I mean, I've still got quite a bit left, so in good shape on that. So that is my whip for that, which that was Mustache Yarns, Hogwarts colorway for the yarn. All right, and then I don't think I showed you guys last time, but it was a whip since the beginning of the year. I was doing a temperature blanket, and I really learned to do, I would say, something more simple. Like, this thing's gonna be gigantic. There is freaking dog hair everywhere. Wow. All right. So I have been working on this obviously since the start of the year, and like, this thing is just so big already, and you know, I have the whole year to go on this. But you can see that we started having some warmer weather. Yeah, so what I did was I started out with the, what is it, the granny stitch, going across, all that good stuff. And then it was just gonna be like really, really long and not wide enough. So I figured I would start then going around in just a, am I doing half or double? I think I was doing double. Double crochet around. And like, so then one side would be one day, turn, the next day, that would be that side. And so I figured maybe that would slow down the like crazy growth of this blanket. But this is how wide it is right now. But yep, started having the warmer days, all that good stuff. So yes, been working on that. It'll be a whip ongoing for like the whole year. Just Red Heart Super Saver, because I've got a big stash of it. Although I've already had to buy a couple extra skeins that I've ran out of the color of what I have already, but still, it's still burned through some of the stuff I've got. And then the granny square blanket I showed you guys. God, I swear this must have fell on the floor and my dogs decided to lay on it. Because it's just hair everywhere. Alright, so the squares are all sewn on. And I'm working on stitching them together like you see here. Let's see, like still got more to do to finish getting them all together, and then that's how wide it is, and then it's as long as like a twin size bed, and then I have to add a border on it. So that should be done, I'm hoping by the end of this weekend, get that done. And it's kind of sad, that's all I'm working on. That's my whips. And then I've been working through trying to process some of my fiber that I have. Like I've got South Down, Baby Doll, what is it, Shetland Coopworth, Crossbreed, and I think maybe a different one that was just Coopworth. So I mean, I've got so much of that I'm trying to work through. Right now I've been just focusing on South Down that I have, and I got a wool picker, which I'll show a video of it because that thing's heavy. I didn't want to bring it in here. I've got enough stuff to show you, but just trying to open up the locks because I've washed them all last year, and so in my hand it's just long. I mean, I guess if you're sitting there in front of the TV it's not a big deal, but I've always wanted to get a wool picker and be able to maybe do a better job at opening up the fibers. And so I'll put in a video of that. That is actually, we're gonna move into acquisitions, which that was one of them. I didn't buy any new yarn other than a couple of, Red Heart Super Savers that I needed for my temperature blanket. And trying not to buy yarn because I do have so much. I've started uploading all that, what I have in my stash on Ravelry, so it's kind of easy to, like at a quick glance, if I need a certain weight for a pattern I found, then I can see what I have in my stash, which is brilliant. But I am realizing I have so much that it's a lot to upload and take pictures of to make sure you have it on there, you know what it looks like and things like that. So that's a process. I think I've gotten through maybe half of what I've got. Anyway, back into acquisitions. Hold on, let me get a drink. Goodness, I need like a paper towel. Oh well. Okay, so I had the same yarn winder for a while, and then I got just one of those really cheap ones off of Amazon, eBay, wherever, and while it works, it can be a pain in the butt when the yarn flies off and then it's all stuck in the gears underneath. So after having one of those forever, and then I got a nicer one from my friend from Knit Picks, which has the gear covered a little more underneath, but it's an upgrade, but still not the greatest. And sometimes depending on how much yarn you're winding, it's just not big enough. And I didn't want to get one of those big jumbo ones. And then trying to stay within a good price range because I'm not made out of money. I got one from the Woolery when I was looking for a lazy Kate that I needed, and the tension knob on my Lendrum broke, and it was just a pain in the butt to try to keep it in. It would slip out. So I bought a new one, and that thing already has been busted off because my dogs like to think they need to run around like crazy hooligans inside the house, and knocked over my wheel while I was using it. And then of course it fell right on that side where the tension knob is and snapped it off. And then, well, I should say they snapped it off, but it wasn't all the way off yet. It was hanging in there a little bit. And so I thought I kind of fixed it and it was still usable. And then the next day my son tripped over it and knocked it over, and then it totally broke. But thankfully the hubby had some like really good wood glue, so we did that before going back to having to buy another one. that I just had like maybe for a week, and thankfully that thing is holding strong, so it's still good. But anyway, back to a winder. So when I was on the Willery and getting those things, I found this by Knitter's Pride on there. It's so nice. It's so smooth. You can attach it to the table here. You know, it's got another piece, metal piece that goes onto there, attached to the table for security, or if you want to just hold on to it and go by hand, that's fine. But it was decently priced for affordability, and it's just smooth sailing. And I don't know, I'm trying to think of when no, it was before Mother's Day, I think, when I talked to you guys last. Well, maybe not. I'm totally having a brain fart. Oh well. But my husband got me a yarn swift for Mother's Day, which is awesome. So now I've got a good yarn swift, I've got a good yarn winder, slowly collecting all these good things. And then the Lazy Kate I had was one that I'm assuming is so old or no longer available. Like, I can't even find one that looks like the one I had, the one that came with my used wheel. I don't know if it was necessarily a Lendrum Lazy Kate or somebody else's, you know, handmade one. I don't know. But I had issues with it not running smoothly. I couldn't figure out, to save my life, how to tension the bobbins when they were on there. And so after putting up with dealing with that for a while, I went ahead and bought a new Lazy Kate, which has a way to tension the bobbins. They all go through the same way for plying, and I already used this. I had no issues whatsoever with this. And that's what I used to ply those. It was like, where have you been all my life? So this worked out great. Can't beat a good Lazy Kate. And then another thing that I've been just kind of rigging it up to make it work for, is it Andean Plying? Or not Andean Plying. Yeah, maybe it is Andean Plying. I bought this off of Etsy. I mean, it was less than 20 bucks. I mean, I'm sure my husband could have made it. This might have been a little more tricky, but he prefers to do big woodworking projects, not these small ones. But it was cheap enough that it was like, it's worth it. So it's got a little notch here to hold like the starting part of your yarn. And I'll post a video of me using this. But the purpose of it is to, like, you know, if I'm plying, which happened with this, with the yarn I had plied, where it's not necessarily even, so you end up with using up all the yarn on one bobbin and you still have some left on the other. Well, you still want to have a 2-ply, so you have to get the 2 ends together, and that's what that does. Because then after you've done all that, you remove this, it drops down, and you're able to then have each end and be able to ply them together. It's sure beats using a book with an index card in the center and doing it that way. So much better. And then last acquisition was trying to support other makers. This was by So Bernie, like SEW, like sewing, So Bernie, because that fox, I couldn't handle it. I had to have it. Plus the adorable lining on the inside. Oh, look, there you go. I mean, just her work is just amazing, and it's got drawstring, which I know it'll work more smoothly as I use it. I haven't really used it yet, but it does have drawstrings. It's got nice handles. So it was just so cute. very fall themed, which is my favorite season anyway. So it's all good. And you know what? I forgot to grab the combs that are finished. There, I got them. So my husband helped me make my own hand combs. We used, I mean, I have it on my Instagram, which I totally forgot to mention. If you want to find me on Instagram, it's Hot.Mess.Knits, Hot.Mess.Knits channel, or just Hot.Mess.Knits. No, I'm pretty sure I have the word Shane, my name in there. I'll post it on here to be sure. We used 16D finish nails. We took the finish off of them because the coating was just coming off on everything, our hands. They're still not totally done because we didn't seal the wood, which probably should have done that before putting the nails in, whatever. But you can see where when we had touched the nails and then touched the wood without realizing it, like it won't come off. I mean, we could probably sand it off, but whatever. Yeah, these are 16D finish nails. We didn't sharpen them any more than that because I wanted to see how they would do. I mean, and they work. And then, I mean, I know a lot of hand combs will have like the bent 45-degree angle, which we may still do, but I was tired of waiting and I just wanted to use them. Now, are they the most beautiful thing? No, but I am super happy with them. You know, and they're homemade, handmade by myself and my husband, mostly my husband. And then the little personal touch, it says Akio wool, because Harry Potter is just one of my favorite things. Has been since I was, you know, middle school, high school, into adult life. I just love Harry Potter. And it just kind of was a play off of a sticker I found that I put on my spinning wheel, which is the Nimbus 2000. And so I was like, yeah, you know what, we're gonna keep this theme going. And so Akio wool, which is like a summoning charm. You call what you want and it summons it, it brings it. Harry Potter uses this in the movie for his room during his stuff. But in any case, I've tested them out. They work. They're good. But I've only used them on what did I use them on? Which wool? Doesn't really work for the Southdown. The Southdown, I don't know if it just easily breaks or if it's just naturally, I think it's very short fibers. So after picking the wool, I'm just gonna spin it from the fluff. That's probably the easiest way. I mean, I could card it too, but I just didn't want to have to futz with the carding too. I'm just not that great at it. Oh, and I totally terrible. So this is actually engraved out or laser burned in, or I don't know what you want to call it. I'm not very good with the terminology of it. But we had somebody local do that for us. And then he also painted the inside of it, which kind of bled into the wood a little bit. No big deal, because I don't care. I'm not picky. And he has actually a YouTube also channel, Last Leaf Studio. He does some awesome woodworking stuff and other crafty things in a shop like that, which is why I saw it. Since he's local and I've seen this stuff on Facebook and whatnot, I was like, hey, can you do something like this? And he said, yeah. So I said, let's do it. So in any case, finished, done, awesome. Specifics on like the wood we used and things like that, I do have on my Instagram. If you're interested in that process, and I took pictures of like the different stages of this too. So if you're curious, that's where to go. So that's it, guys. I don't know when I'm gonna podcast next. maybe it'll be at the end of June, might be July. Gonna kind of see what I get done and go from there. But until then, guys, I hope you guys are having fun enjoying hopefully nicer weather and crafting what your heart desires. And let me know what you guys are up to here lately during this quarantine time. What are you guys working on? Are you just like in a rut, not working on anything? Losing your mind because your kids are hard to school at home? Future teacher, but oh my gosh, I can't teach my children to save my life. Nah, just sometimes I think it's just that clash of being home 24/7 around each other, and they're not into it. Sometimes they're just better in-person learners with their teachers. So it's just been kind of rough, to be honest. I'm so stressed out. And sometimes I'm like, okay, if I can't teach my own kids and I'm struggling with them, should I really become a teacher? But I've heard from many people that it is not the same. It's very different. And I'm not anywhere near done with my schooling. I've just barely gotten through most of my gen ed classes, so I'll learn. But all right, so I don't keep rambling on, I'll let you guys go. Please comment below on what you guys are working on. I'm curious to know. Have a conversation. And until next time, you guys, peace out.